Hi guys, welcome to LoveCast, the BL podcast reviews. I am your host Alexa, and as always I have my fellow hosts Kayla and Pixie with me.
Hey.
Hey.
So for this month's review, we are diving into the 2025 Japanese BL, When It Rains, It Pours. Hagiwara Kazuaki lives a normal life without intimacy with his girlfriend. One day, he mistakenly sends an email to his coworker, Nakarai Sei. What begins as a simple message quickly develops into an open and freeing connection between two people who desire love and sex. This was a 7-episode series running at about 25 minutes per episode, and for most international fans, you should be able to find it to watch on Viki. So yeah, I mean, when this was another one of our review polls where it ended up in a tiebreaker vote. It was between this and Ballboy Tactics, and I think our patrons must really love the messy stuff, because whenever it comes down to like a softer show and a messy show, the messy one always wins in a landslide. Yeah. But like when I said we were reviewing this one, Pixie was like, "Oh, the cheating BL," and I was like, "Well, it certainly was that." I mean, it was definitely like a very like it wasn't just like straight up like, I mean, it was straight up cheating, but also there was a lot of nuance to the relationship and what led the characters there and their own individual relationships that they were in that they were not feeling fulfilled in, which was never an excuse for cheating. And I feel like the show kind of made that a point, even though like the leads did end up together in the end. I think they both had to somewhat suffer consequences of, well, technically Sei wasn't cheating because him and Fujisawa, is that his best friend's name? They were not dating technically. But, you know, Hagiwara kind of had to face some consequences for cheating on his longtime girlfriend. Not very much. I mean, he still got a happy ending, but
I think there was a lot of like mental struggle going on, emotional trauma almost. So I think like what is interesting about this is usually when we see cheating plot, it is just to drive the plot. But this was baked into it. Like, this is, you can't have this story without the cheating. And you get a lot of emotional things happening. There's a lot of reasons, like you said, there's a lot going on.
Yeah. No, I mean, when I was watching this, I was like, being in the place of either of those two characters is like my worst nightmare in a relationship, is like being able to like palpably feel that your partner is like, you're not desirable to your partner, or that your partner is not interested in you in the same way that you are them, to the same level that you are them. That's like my worst nightmare. So like I understand like the feelings of loneliness and rejection and insecurity that come with like not even just like being rejected sexually, but also like in Sei's case, like loving someone so much but being kept at a distance that you can feel like physically recoiling from you, even if you're not like trying to come on to him, although Sei did, you know, actively ask him for sex at times. Like I can understand like the emotions of where both of those characters were coming from and what drove them to connect with each other, of course.
I mean, I felt really I felt that I could really sympathize with the girlfriend as well, to her kind of losing, or it's not like she got into a relationship and she lost the expectations that were on her in the dating world. When you're dating, you're expected to have sex. It's part of dating. And then she got comfortable and in a relationship that she was happy and comfortable in, and the need to follow society's expectations went away. And she just like discovered herself in a way. And I think like some of this is on her as well, because she was not communicating at all.
No, that was, I think, for the two of them, that was their issue, is that neither of them communicated the fact that they were wanting or wanting different things from like their sexual intimacy. And like Sei called Hagiwara out on that. He was like, how do you expect to marry this person if you can't talk to her about like what you want in terms of sex? And it went the opposite way. Like neither of them wanted to, I guess, confront the fact that they wanted different things sexually, maybe because they knew it would rock the entire relationship. But yeah, there was definitely like zero communication, and that's what left, at least from Hagiwara's perspective, like his girlfriend not being able to, or not feeling like she could communicate like what she was feeling in regards to intimacy, left him feeling like he was lonely and being neglected sexually. So it was like casebook miscommunication.
Yeah.
Textbook miscommunication, that's the word. So yeah.
Yeah, I just kept thinking that the cultural aspect of it is very strong here, of just like the stigma around talking openly about sex, and then like trying to still be very like polite about it, not wanting to upset your partner, so you're not bringing it up and communicating because you just like don't want someone else to feel bad or like they're burdening you. Like that was a big thing that stuck out to me, is just how it's so Japanese culturally, which obviously it's a Japanese series.
Yeah, I was very I kept going back and forth like until the very end, and things really hit the fan. I did not understand Fujisawa and Sei's relationship. Like at first when they were introduced, I was like, okay, like they're roommates. And then they had this conversation where Fujisawa was like, oh, I only want to be with you, but like it might not be the type of relationship you're expecting. So I was like, okay, maybe Fujisawa is asexual, and he was like being upfront about not being able to have that type of relationship
as well. Yeah.
And then when Sei was talking about like describing his relationship in the emails, he was basically describing it as like a best friend who he was in love with, who like made advances on, but like knew that this person didn't like him. And then there was a point where he called him his partner, and so like until the very end, like when we actually got like that monologue from Fujisawa at the end, like, which I have feelings about that as well, where he was talking about how he's always loved Sei, but he held back because he felt like he was responsible for his parents' death. Like I could not figure out the whole time, like, are they in a relationship? Are they just friends? Like it was, and maybe that was the point, like it was such an unclear relationship, and that's why Sei could not separate, like could not move on from his feelings, and was like so kept trying to make those moves on Fujisawa, because Fujisawa would care for him in ways that a romantic partner would do, but that also stemmed from the guilt of like feeling like he had to take care of him in his parents' death, and like it was a whole cycle.
Yeah, but before we knew the whole thing about the parents and the guilt and everything, I was sitting through that thinking like Fujisawa, he acts like they're in a relationship.
Yeah, he was getting jealous. Like he was very clearly jealous, but also didn't
trying
want
to figure out where his roommate is going, what he's doing, like being overly attached that you wouldn't see with roommates, even best friends. So
it was very confusing, and obviously it culminated in the fact that Fujisawa very much assaulted Sei, and like basically forced him into agreeing to sex, which was very, very tough to watch. And then like after the fact was when he had that like whole monologue explaining. He did apologize for it, but I was like, I don't know. I don't necessarily think they were trying to like use the monologue to act as an amends for what he did, but I just think like watching him assault Sei, and then like at the end of the last episode we get this monologue that was supposed to explain why he acted the way he did. Like it was just like, I don't know. I didn't love the placement of like those two scenes in conjunction with each other. Like, you know, I'm not saying that like I understand why the assault was shown, like narratively, like there was a reason for it to be in the series, but I think getting like this kind of monologue from Fujisawa after the fact, I don't necessarily think it was trying to like, what's the word I'm looking for? Negate or negate what he did, but it felt a little bit like that when I first watched it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I was feeling like, okay, they needed to explain why it happened, what the situation was. They needed to put it in words because there was so much stuff that wasn't put in words. And especially at the end, we needed an explanation.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of the story was happening in between lines. So having like at the end where you actually get the words out
Yeah.
help kind of wrap the story up, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah. No, that does make sense. Like, I
Like
understand.
I did not feel any sympathy from
Yeah,
him,
yeah.
for him at all from
That's why
that
I'm like-
monologue. Like none.
Yeah, I don't think the monologue was meant to, like, make amends for what he did. Like, I don't think that was their intention. But yeah, I think it was just, like, for me, Fujisawa was very confusing the entire time. And, like, the monologue just felt like a way to, like, bookend all of that, which, like I said, maybe that was the point of his character. Like, he was meant to be kind of confusing you with his intentions throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
I
don't know.
felt like they really glossed over his character and the girlfriend's perspectives, especially the girlfriend. I feel like there was not enough of, I guess, like characterization for her there, which kind of leads me to this next point where I'm not exactly sure how to pinpoint. Like, I don't know what to pinpoint to explain why I was getting this vibe, but I felt the whole time I was watching this series that there was, like, something very misogynistic going on. Like, maybe I was, like, reading too much into, like, their emails or, like, or, I don't know, just, like, the lack of characterization with the girlfriend where it kind of, like, it kind of ends on a note of her being, I mean, what's his name literally says, like, I'm not, like, your pet or whatever. And I was like, well, I don't know that she thought you were her pet. But I don't know if, like, anyone else picked up on it. But there was, like, something amiss there, just, like, that felt a little misogynistic to me.
It was kind of like her character boiled down to, like, the girlfriend that wouldn't put out. And, like, she didn't really have any, like, anything else to, like, I mean, of course, at the end, like, she had that conversation explaining why she does not like sex anymore. But, yeah, I mean, I understand, like, a lot of the emails, like, especially from Hagiwara's perspective, were talking about, like, how would you categorize women into, like, what are the two, like, women who do this and women who don't do this and stuff like that. Like,
it.
Yeah, but that is very typical for Japanese culture.
Yeah. Which is why I honestly kind of didn't sympathize with anyone in the show.
Yeah,
I
no,
don't know that I
I
sympathized with anyone.
No,
I didn't read
sympathize
anyone as
with
super,
anyone
like,
either.
a character that we were meant to sympathize with.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think everyone, yeah, I mean, obviously, like, they had sympathetic aspects. Like, I could understand their viewpoints on some things, but, like, yeah, I didn't, like, sympathize really for any of their actions, if that makes sense. Like, they did what they did. Like, they very, especially, like, when it came to, like, the act of cheating, like, Hagiwara very much went into that knowing, like, if I call Sei at this moment, I know I'm going to cheat on my partner, and went forward with it, and like checked with each other multiple times, like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, he very much wanted to do it. So, and then, like, he fucked around and caught feelings, and that's, you know, like, the consequences
real,
of your
I
own
guess.
actions.
Yeah.
It's very realistic. I'll give them that. Like, I like that they got into the complexities of their situations and, like, why they were driven to cheating. Like, I like that they went there.
Yeah, I don't think any character was black and white. Like, I agree with you that the girlfriend didn't really get much in the way of characterization, but, like, I don't think anyone's actions were explained by a black and white, like,
Yeah, but I also think, like, we're seeing this from the two main characters' point of views. So, like, we're gonna get their views of the characters, and that's how he saw her. Like, he didn't get it. So I understand.
maybe that's how you were meant to feel
but-
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know if I really liked any of the characters.
Yeah, no.
Like, I don't think any of them, like, I mean, I liked a lot of the conversations that Hagiwara and Sei had. Like, I think they were having like really interesting discussions at some point, and like kind of pinballing each other's perspectives at times. But like, I don't think like I never really got attached to either of them as characters. And honestly, like, I wasn't super attached to their relationship. And that kind of goes back to like
No.
an issue I have with a lot of the Japanese BLs, is that they end in the point where you never get to see the characters like develop their relationship. Like, they
Yeah,
end
why
when the
did it end
characters get
so
together.
abruptly?
So literally, like, it's always like they get together and then the show is over. And I'm like, well, I don't get to enjoy the relationship at all. I don't get to root for this relationship, because it's just like, you cheated
Don't
on your
even
partner.
get a flash on how their lives
Right.
would look like.
Right.
After
I was reading one review, and someone was like, I have no faith that those two are actually going to last as a couple
Yeah.
based on how things started
no.
for them.
But I think like this is basically slice of life, right? So it's very typical, especially in manga and stuff, that this is how they write it. This is where they end it. And I'm actually surprised that we even get to see them together at the end.
For 2 seconds, they kissed. And it was over.
Yeah. But I didn't get attached to anyone. But I will say this, that it was an interesting story, and it
Yeah,
had an
I agree
interesting
with that.
plot. And I was enjoying watching it.
Yeah,
Didn't like
no.
any of the characters, really. Like, couldn't be friends with them. And
Yeah.
all of that. But I enjoyed the story.
It's like, it was like, for me, I feel like I typically tend to watch shows for the characters. Like, I can usually ignore like certain like plot holes and things like that if I'm attached to the characters. But in this one, I feel like I was more tuned into like the story
overall
arc
story.
that their
Yeah.
characters were
Yeah.
going on than I was like attached to the characters themselves. So like, it could have been any fucking character in the world
Dude.
playing these two people, but it's like the story that kind of had me.
I think we're a little bit ruined because of shipping culture. I think like this is how honestly a short story should be. It should be the story that is the draw, and not the ship.
It's not, no, I don't even mean like I usually watch it for the ship. Like, I mean, I get attached to
I
like
get,
the character.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I get what you mean. I because it happens to me too when I'm watching like typical Thai BLs and stuff. But like there's something honest about this way of having a show where it's so focused in on the story that the people don't really matter that much when you're watching it. I just like, it's good storytelling.
Yeah, I think I am typically like a character drawn person. So like, I like a good story, but I also like to like the character. So for me, like, I'm really glad I was tuned into the story, but like, I also would have liked to also like the characters. I didn't dislike them, I'll say that. It's not like I actively hated them, but it's like
Yeah.
I didn't connect to the characters. Like, I like to connect to the characters I'm watching, if that makes sense. But it's also like, it's only 7 episodes, 25 minutes. Like, they
And it's
don't
a
give you a lot
cheating
of time
plot.
to
I don't
connect
think
with
like
people.
how could you get to a point where you actually connect with them in a good way?
Some people might.
I was curious. I had a question. Would you say that Hagiwara was emotionally cheating with Sei before anything physical happened? Like, do you think their conversations that they were having constituted as emotional cheating?
Yeah, I would think so, because I mean, at the point that you're hiding your conversation from your partner and just like being guilty about it and all of that, that's emotional cheating.
I think he didn't feel guilty until anything physical happened. Like, he wasn't really like, I mean, they had a whole conversation about how she's never going to be the girlfriend who checks his phone. But like,
he knew he was doing something wrong. He was
don't know.
hiding it from her.
the
Like the moment.
emails?
Yeah, he was hiding all of the talks.
I feel like they were both pretty upfront. Like their partners were both aware that they were like friends with this person they were like emailing conversationally with. They weren't necessarily like sharing the context, like the content of their emails. But I never read either of them as feeling guilty about talking with each other until there was actual physical cheating involved.
Yeah, but no, I'm on the end. If I can't, like, if my partner can't trust me to let him have my phone because he'll
But I don't
see
think
like
he was. I don't think he was afraid of that before he physically cheated. Like they had conversations. Like he wanted her to be jealous and want to check his phone. If we're talking about Hagiwara, but I don't think he like. I think if she had asked before they physically cheated, like maybe he would have been hesitant about some of the emails because like he actually started talking about their sexual relationship. But I don't think he was actively trying to hide the fact that like they were conversing, if that makes sense. I don't know. I guess they didn't really show too much of like beyond like when they initially started talking, but I don't know. So I was like, I don't know if I saw their, like, obviously they were having very personal conversations about their sex lives and their feelings, but you also do that type of stuff with friends too. So I don't know if I was reading like their conversations they were having before they started having sex as like emotional.
Of the conversation, honestly.
I don't know. Maybe some of it has to do with the intention of it too, because like you already from the beginning get a vibe that they're having these like conversations and kind of like this or that thing because they're drawn to each other sexually. So it's like there's kind of like a thing in the back of their heads, like if I bring this up in conversation, then maybe it will prompt something to happen between us. So maybe there's an aspect of that. But I think at first, maybe it wasn't because it was just them, I don't know, like having conversations like you would with friends.
Yeah.
I don't know like when exactly the shift happens.
That's kind of like, I can't really pinpoint like when. I can kind of pinpoint for Sei because the moment that Sei, like when he went to his girlfriend, first of all, way too much feet in this show for my taste. There was a whole episode about like the dude's fucking toenail, and I was like, I don't need to see his fucked up feet. Like, but when he went to the salon, like he had this thought about how, the girlfriend was like horrible for not, like he was like, I can't imagine, like she's so awful for not wanting to have sex with Hagiwara, like he's so nice and kind. So like I feel like maybe that's where the shift happened for him. Like I could kind of pinpoint it more for him, but like for me it was Hagiwara at least was a little bit more difficult because like he felt so committed to like his girlfriend, even in a lot of the conversations he was having with Sei. And then it was like, I don't know, something kind of snapped. And then he was like, actually, I want to have, maybe it was that moment when he decided to physically have sex with Sei that he realized for him that it was something more than friendship. But I don't know.
I wonder if would it have mattered if it was Sei or someone else? Was he just looking for someone because he wasn't getting what he wanted at home?
I don't know that he was actively looking for someone.
He's subconsciously looking for someone because he felt, I don't know, like I got the feeling like he felt everything was unfair, that his partner wasn't having sex with him anymore. So he felt unfairly treated, and to like get back at his girlfriend, he was kind of reaching out to someone to fill that need because he has a need. Like he has the attitude of, I have a need, you're not fulfilling it.
I don't know if I read it that way. I mean, I think he definitely like had a certain perspective of his girlfriend and like what their relationship should be. But I feel like he was, I don't know, trying to be respectful, at least like when it came to not trying to push her into something that she clearly didn't want from him. I don't know if maybe he would have like latched on to the first person who offered him like what's the word I'm looking for, like a listening ear, and it just happened to be Sei. But I don't know if that he was actively reaching out for someone, if that makes sense from my perspective.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like necessarily actively, but if anything presented itself, he would jump at the chance?
I don't know, because like him and Sei got closer because he kind of grew this like emotional connection to him where he was like, you understand me, you understand what I'm going through. So I think if that understanding didn't exist, then he wouldn't have followed through with cheating.
Yeah, because they did kind of describe each other. Well, Sei was like, we're two peas in a pod, basically. That like we're in the same boat.
Yeah, but their
of, like,
one thing that they have in common is wanting to have sex. There's plenty of people who want to have sex.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know, if you're in a position where you're not feeling desired, like, I can understand feeling connected with someone who
had a roommate. He wasn't in a relationship. Like, he wasn't in a place where he was supposed to feel desired.
But he wanted
they definitely
that
had a
person.
situationship. Like, there,
Yeah.
it was definitely a situationship.
And like, yeah, I don't think their situations were exactly the same, but I guess more they were in a place of like wanting something from their relationship that they weren't receiving and feeling like they weren't, like they were lonely. And you know, especially in Hagiwara's case, it was more about feeling not desired by his partner, which it does suck if you feel that way. But you know, I think they were both like in that place of like, we hope for something more than we're getting. I don't know.
I think there was also an element of not feeling loved by the other
Yeah.
person. I think that had a lot to do with it, honestly, is that they felt like unloved.
Yeah.
I mean, the lack of communication was really jarring. Like, especially with what's his name? The one with the girlfriend.
Hagiwara.
Like Hagiwara. They're in a relationship. They don't communicate at all about anything personal, which is also a very important thing for intimacy. Like, intimacy can be seen in many different ways. It doesn't have to be sexual. You can have a intimate conversation, like sharing your thoughts, your innermost feelings, and like they were, he and Sei were basically doing on the phone. Like, he didn't do that with his girlfriend, which, I mean, your relationship is doomed to begin. Like, sex isn't the only thing you're missing from that relationship.
I mean, they were in a rut. I think they both recognized that they were kind of in a rut in general in their relationship. Yeah, I don't know.
I got the feeling that that relationship was more of, okay, we're two adults. We are in an age where we're expected to live together with a partner and get married soon and all of that. So we like each other. Why not just jump into it? That's what I got from Hagiwara and his girlfriend.
Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah,
I would agree that that's kind of like what their relationship was at that point. It very much was not like an actively reciprocal relationship from either end in multiple ways, I guess. Like, not just on the sexual front, but like they were not really, like, it seemed like a lot of their conversations were very surface level.
Yeah.
On a different note, I did really like the symbolism with the rain. Like, it was always raining, and I feel like the idiom, when it rains, it pours, it's like a parallel to whenever they finally decided to basically go through with their affair, and then like it was a snowball effect of all this stuff happening.
Everything.
So it's like,
It's like once you start it, you can't stop it. Like, you know, once you take that step, cross that line, like, it's all gonna.
I find it very interesting with how, Sei, in their apartment, he couldn't hear the rain because they were so like, and that was like the symbolism of how shut in he is.
No, exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And then whenever they would bring the umbrellas to each other, I think that happened like twice. I was like, oh, interesting. It's like they're sending each other a lifeline because they both felt like lonely in that moment. It's like the symbolism is really cool.
Yeah, no, the symbolism with weather and rain, and even like the little storm glass that they had, that it, like the whole thing is like when it was supposed to storm, like the particles would freeze, and like I think before he left to go sleep with Sei, like he looked at it and like all the particles were frozen, and then like his girlfriend found out and then like it was broken, like, you know, like I don't know, there's a lot of symbolism there as well. So definitely on point with the symbolism and metaphors of when it rains it pours.
Kind of felt like whoever wrote it had the idea of the whole rain and everything before they made the story, so they kind of wrote it around the metaphors.
Maybe. I think it's adopted from a manga, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, hey, it's a good metaphor to work around. You can do a lot with when it rains it pours as a theme, but
yeah, they do like weather metaphors in Japan.
I think I went through all of my notes I had. I don't know if anyone else had anything they wanted to cover.
No. I think we covered it all.
What rating would you give this show out of 5?
Okay, I think I'm gonna rate it a 3, like right in the middle, because I like how complex the story is. I like what they were tackling. I like that they showed at least a lot of the 2 main characters' perspectives and their feelings about just like having needs and the needs not being met. I like that it was like very realistic to life. Like it's something that I think a lot of people could relate to, but I think I just didn't connect with the story very much. Like I thought it was just like overall just okay. I don't know. Like I think that they did what they could with the story. Maybe there could have been like another episode, because it did feel like it ended very abruptly, and I wasn't that crazy about how late in the story we find out like what was going on with Fujisawa.
Yeah, I
and
agree.
what was going on with Kaori.
Yeah.
Like I feel like we could have learned that information sooner. But I don't know. I thought it was fine, but just fine, I think.
Yeah. I will probably give it like a 4 out of 5 because I really did enjoy the story and where they went with it. I agree that it was sort of missing something in pacing. Like it should have had more episodes where they actually went through the whole partners stories and everything. It was kind of, at times I felt like, okay, we're sort of just showing him with his girlfriend just to show they're still together, but you're not getting anything out of that scene. Or it was just like really, I don't know, it felt a little off. The pacing was off.
Something missing.
Yeah. So I wish there was more to it, but I understand that they only had that many episodes and all of that. But yeah, like I still enjoyed the story, so that's why I'll give it a 4.
I'm sitting in the same place as Kayla at a 3. I like that, like it led to, like, I like the discussions that we're having about it. Like I think there was a lot of nuance and like different perspectives to analyze, I guess, if that's the right word, when it comes to the characters and their decisions and what led them down this path. Of course, like aesthetically, the Japanese BLs are always going to be gorgeous. I loved the fall, like the fall trees and like some of the really gorgeous like walking shots that they had and stuff like that. I agree that, yeah, like you both said, like there's just something a little bit hollow in it for me. Like, and maybe that is because like I'm a character based watcher and like there wasn't really characters that you could connect with here. And I think, yeah, that was right for the story. Like maybe I don't need to be connecting with treating partners and things like that. But I think there is a part of me that always, like, when I'm watching something, I like to have a character that I can like root for is not the right word, but I don't know. I like being able to connect with at least one person in the story and like their story. And I understood and related with what these characters are going through on some level, but I don't think there was a lot for me to connect with there. And that's like something I like to see in a show. But I think like for the story itself, it was an interesting watch. And I think if you do want like a more nuanced and complex kind of watching experience and having characters to analyze in that way, I think you would like it. So I feel like I sit kind of middle of the road 3 on it for that reason. I don't think I can ever really hate a Japanese BL. Like, I don't think I've ever actively disliked one. Like, I think they're always at a base level of just like pretty decent shows. So, but yeah. Okay. Well, that is going to be all for our review of When It Rains, It Pours. Be sure to let us know on our Patreon if that's where you're watching, in the comments there, or on YouTube if you're watching later when it goes up in YouTube. Let us know in the comments there what you thought of the show, what you thought of the characters' actions, how you analyzed some of their decisions and the things that they went through throughout the story. And if you are interested in having more of a hand in what shows or movies we review next, you can become a member on our Patreon, because they vote every month for which series we will review. And like I said at the beginning, we have been having some pretty tough competition between the shows lately. We've been having to do a lot of tiebreaker polls. So if that's something you're interested in, you can vote on our Patreon, and you also get access to watch the reviews a month before they go up on YouTube. So you can find the link for our Patreon down below. But that is going to be all for this review, and we will see you guys again next month. Bye-bye.
Bye.